So let's talk about this Phoenix Suns versus Timberwolves game. It was an interesting game, with a lot of ups and downs. But we really want to talk about, are the players involved in this game and how they help this game out. I want to talk about a few players, but first I want to say shout out to Minnesota. They've been an extremely tough team this year, and we can't deny what they do. Like, look, Minnesota has always been a laughing stock of the league, and they've never been able to figure it out because they've always wanted to be a team like the Suns this year. A team with just a bunch of stars and players who can make it make sense, and get it however you want. But they haven't been that, and we all know that. But what we do see from them is that they've been a team which has completely turned their biggest weakness into their biggest strength. With the addition of Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert as their two main defenders, we've seen that Minnesota has really changed their culture around. They don't really care anymore about scoring points because since Anthony Edwards took the offensive leap to do that, he's been put in a situation where he can, you know, score enough points to carry his team. As we know, Anthony Edwards in the past seasons has been one of the players which, even though he does, carry his team, in the regular season he normally was known to not go that hard, you know. And he's known for, even though, yes, it's true, we've seen Anthony Edwards be a star, even in the Olympics, but there's also something to be said about him being a star consistently in the regular season, which is what matters for playoff seeding. As this season started, Anthony Edwards has been on a hot streak, just got named Player of the Week, and it's obvious that they are now relying on him, which is something they didn't do in past seasons that much. In past seasons, they try to make it that the team can run by themselves with Cat, and then Anthony Edwards is just the final punch. In this season, they figured it out. They said Anthony Edwards is the guy, Cat is number two, and then we just have to play great defense around those two, and they'll score enough points to win. And as soon as they figured this out, in my opinion, is when really the Timberwolves made a switch. The Timberwolves have been amazing. They have been one of the best teams. They're confident, they're good, they have experience, they have youth, they have defense. They have a guy like, Jaden McDaniels, which can just climb anybody. Rudy Gobert, a paint threat. And they've really been one of these teams which just can exhale, such good defense, meanwhile also being so great offensively because of their stars. In my opinion, their biggest thing has really been being able to beat good teams so consistently. And they're one of the teams which, even though, yes, they aren't amazing all of the time, when it comes to beating great teams, they've really had their shine. And that reflects in their record. Right now they're in the playoffs very comfortably. They have no fear of going in the play, and even though the margins are tight, and the Timberwolves just look like if they continue like this, then they'll be a top four seed this year. Which, if that happens, it proves what the Timberwolves have been saying, right? The Timberwolves, I'm sorry, but they don't want a ring right now. They didn't get Rudy to get a ring in a year. Even though it seems like it, they didn't. Like, no one's getting a ring in a year, especially when your best player is young. But you could see now what their plan is. They've gotten a lot of fundamentally great players, shooters, offensive players, players which can really do it all on both ends. And now we could see that both of them, in terms of Cat and Ant, have accepted the power structure, the new power structure. After Ant went to the Olympics, it's obvious, not to the Olympics, to the World Cup, it's obvious that a new torch was lit in him. He's become a player which, even though he is extremely good, he could really activate a new level. You know, he is in that LeBron, Kobe, Jordan type of rookie young player category where they have the physicals, they have the mentality, they have the clutchness, they have the work ethic, but all they need is the push. You know, LeBron got it in his second year when he realized that he needed to carry his team. Kobe got it as soon as he realized that Shaq was slowing down, right? Or that, he needed to put up, numbers too so that Shaq can really do his thing as much as he wanted to because Kobe could draw defenders out to the 3-point line. And, a guy like Jordan realized that after, he saw that even though he got injured and even though he averaged 27, it was still hard for him to not finish as the last seed in the playoffs, which it was the 8th seed. And what we could see from this is that it took a push to push certain stars to their new levels. Like as soon as those guys really got the time to develop their sets, it made them dangerous in the way that they played because they had figured their game out already. But yeah, in terms of the Suns, I'm sorry. In terms of the Suns, they were good this game. They won the game by, I think, almost. They won the game by 18 points, and honestly, it was mostly predicated on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just being themselves. Kevin Durant had an extremely efficient game, and he dropped 31 on 15 shots, which is crazy. He dropped 6 assists. Devin Booker also dropped 30. And really, it was the fact that they got those guys back. I think we're yet to see all three of them in the lineup with Bradley Beal. But this team is deep. They were playing great. They were hitting 60% of their shots and 55% of the threes. And as a team, they shot 60, 55, and 93, which is incredible. With the Timberwolves, they shot terribly from 3. And even though they did put up enough points to win, their best players just had rough games. Anthony Edwards, 13 points. Rudy Gobert, 4 points. Jaden McDaniels, even though he was efficient, he didn't hit a single 3 and he shot 3 of them. It was really predicated on the fact that the Suns were purely and, plainly just better. There was no, stuff that could be challenged. The efficiency says it, the players say it, and when you look at the film, you could see that it felt like the Suns were hitting everything with the way that they were shooting in this game. This puts the Minnesota Timberwolves at 8 wins and 3 losses, which is it's honestly impressive. And when we look at the West, that puts them, as the 3rd best team in the West, behind the Nuggets and the Mavericks. And when we look at that, we could say like, hey, if we're being 1,000% honest, if they keep playing the way that they're playing, especially against the great teams which they have faced, it's gonna be a scary sight for the league. Apart from that, the West is looking tough, it's looking good, and in my opinion, I'm just excited that this season is actually here that we get to finally watch basketball. I am gonna see the Timberwolves and see how they progress by the season. I do think that they're a great team, and they've been very good in terms of, running it back this season. And in my opinion, the Suns also did that pretty well too. Now, that's all really I had to say. These two teams are great. And we've always seen these two teams really be amazing. And that's not, that crazy. I do want to say that it would be good to see the 3 guys on the court now. I'm sick of seeing only Kevin Durant and whoever is playing that day. But I guess I won't ask too many questions and just wait for the day that it happens. But yeah, I'll see you later. Goodbye.